The Barber Institute of Fine Arts is at the University of Birmingham. Like the Courtauld, it's a university art gallery, but its foundations were very different. While the Courtauld was founded with a collection of art, the Barber was not, and instead subsequent directors have had the opportunity to build a group of landmark works of art from scratch. We are very lucky at the Courtauld to be borrowing 18 of these works until February 2026, and I'm going to take you through some of the highlights of the highlights. So we're looking here at a portrait by Elisabeth Vija Lebron, who was Marie Antoinette's favourite portraitist. When the French Revolution took place in 1789, Vija Lebron fled France, and one of the places that she travelled to was Russia, where she spent 6 years of her life. She painted a number of portraits there, and this is really one of the most striking and remarkable. It remains as fresh and captivating today as it was the day that she painted it. It depicts Countess Golovine, who Vija Lebron met, we think in Moscow, and she described how cultivated and learned she was. She said that the latest literary news reached Countess Golovine as soon as it reached Paris. She was very interested in the visual arts and in music. And I think a lot of this is captured in this portrait, the dynamism of the way she looks at us and pulls her red shawl up to her. In fact, Vija Lebron used this red shawl in a number of portraits, which I find so surprising because it seems as though it was sort of made for the Countess. Another work which we are very pleased to have here at the Courtauld is this exceptional Jockeys Before the Race by Edgar Degas. He painted this around 1878 to 79, and when he displayed it at the 4th Impressionist exhibition, it really surprised visitors there, both because of its really surprising composition and also the use of the media. He was using oil paint, thinned oil paint, gouache and pastel to produce something that looks quite sort of unfinished in passages. One of the things that strikes you when you first look at this work is, of course, this post that bisects the composition. Degas eschewed the formality of the starting line of the jockeys waiting to begin the race to look at this much more disordered scene as they kind of gallop and move around in a kind of disordered way. There were many influences on Degas at this time, but two of the most profound, we think, when we look at this were photography and the idea of the snapshot, something being captured in a more live and random moment, and also Japanese prints, which Degas collected and greatly admired, which this very unusual composition pays great tribute to. Finally, I think we'll look behind us here, this magnificent landscape by Peter Paul Rubens, which he painted around 1635 to 1640. Rubens had a very long career. He was immensely successful working for churches and other very powerful patrons. And towards the end of his life, he would die in 1640, he purchased a castle outside of Antwerp called Het Steen. While he was there, he turned away from painting portraits and history paintings to the landscape which surrounded the castle. And in fact, this landscape looks very similar today to how it did then. It's thought that Rubens may have painted this to decorate the castle, Het Steen, but it's just such a stunning landscape. More than half of the canvas is taken up by the clouds. You don't see any human figures aside from this very small herdsman driving his flock here in the corner. And we see a rain shower just emerging here and about to pass across the canvas. It's really an extraordinary work. And we at the Courtauld also own one of Rubens' late landscapes, which you can see on the 2nd floor. That's a moonlit landscape, and it's on display in room 7. There are many more resonances between the works held in the Barber collection and our own, but equally lots of works that you might not commonly see at the Courtauld, such as works by Rossetti and other artists. So we hope you will come and see them here while you can.